Hi, in this video we compare the Canon 5D Mark IV with the Sony RX100 Mark V. Hi, I'm Adam and welcome to First Man Photography, the channel that will help you take your photography to the next level. If you haven't done so yet, head over to firstmanphotography.com, fill in your details to join the email list, and I'll send you a free copy of the ebook on how to capture perfect exposure every time. Okay, let's get into this. So whilst this is a fairly extreme comparison, comparing a top-end DSLR against a top-end compact camera is not as daft as it initially sounds, because as digital photography moves forward and electronics get smaller, the gap between these two things is getting closer and closer all the time. So that's why I've decided to do this comparison, to have a little fun. It's not the most scientific comparison ever, but it might give you an idea of where we stand today. We're going to be testing things like cost, weight, bokeh, focusing speed, things like that to see how these match up. I've designed this nice little chart so we can keep track and see who comes out the winner. So let's start with weight, and I think you will probably agree that lighter is better. So just to make it scientific as possible, we'll see which weighs the most. The 5D Mark IV, quite a lot. And then the RX100, not very much, as you can see. There, that is a clear winner for the Sony. So that's one to the Sony. Number two is cost, and this is a big one. This is an expensive camera. This is an expensive camera, but this one costs more than 3 times what this one does. At the moment, this is about £3,500. This is about £1,000. They're going to come down over time, but this is a lot more expensive than this. So that's another win for the Sony. Next up, we have lenses. The Canon gets off to an early lead because this actually comes with a lens. This is attached to this camera. You can't remove it, but that's a good point of this, that it actually has a lens. This, however, doesn't. It comes like this. You don't get a lens with it automatically, and if you do, you have to pay more for it. These are very expensive and they fit onto there, so you actually have a lens to actually take a picture with. However, you're stuck with this one with a 24-70 lens. That's all it's ever going to be good for. Whereas this is also a 24-70 lens, but I can take this off and I can add things like this crazy tilt shift lens here, and it becomes something much more versatile, and you can capture all different types of picture. So I think we'll call that one a tie. Next, we're going to test out the bokeh of these two cameras to see which produces that creamiest background blur. They both have a 24-70 lens on them at the moment, which will both shoot f2.8. So I've got my trusty friend Optimus Prime to act as my model, and I have these lovely fairy lights, because it's coming to Christmas, to create those nice bokeh balls or bokeh balls, depending on how you say it. So we'll start with the Sony. Take the shot, and now we'll switch over to the Canon, switch that on, same shot, out to 70 like I was, take the shot, and there we have it. Now we compare these two images and you can quite clearly see that the Canon 5D Mark IV is much better. This just produces nasty, blurry little bokeh balls, whereas this has nice, creamy, detailed bokeh. That's not surprising given the size of the sensor and also the size of the lens, but still that is a clear win for the Canon 5D Mark IV. Let's get rid of Optimus, thank you very much, my friend. Next up, we have focusing. Now, the focus system in the Canon 5D Mark IV is pretty much the best focusing system I have ever used. It's absolutely flawless in terms of what's ever come before. It's superb, it barely ever misses, and it really does the job in a lot of situations. However, this Sony RX100 Mark V claims to be the fastest focusing system ever at 0.05 seconds. So we're going to do a little test of that, set up, see which is quickest, and then we'll tell which is the winner in terms of focusing speed. So here we go. Wow, that was pretty close, but I think I'm going to have to give it to the Sony RX100 Mark V. Just. So next we move on to the sensor. This has a 1-inch sensor, which is pretty good. It's quite big for a camera this size, and it does capture great images. However, this is a full frame sensor on this camera, and that still matters, I'm afraid. The bigger sensor, the more light that can be dragged in and captured physically by that sensor, and that's generally going to lead to better quality images. And the sensor on this one is really very, very good, and that is just a clear win for the Canon 5D Mark IV, just because sensor size really does matter. Finally, we move on to image quality. When I reviewed this camera recently, I was out and about and I took this image here. I was really pleased with the images that this creates. It is a good camera that can produce some nice images like this one and bring out some good detail in the scene. This, however, is the same shot or from the same angle with the Canon 5D Mark IV, and I just much prefer this image because it's more detailed. There's more natural colours in there, and it's just an all-round better image. Plus the fact that because of where I stood, I was able to strap on a 17 to 40mm lens onto the 5D Mark IV, which is what I eventually captured the scene with the Canon. Now, I know that's a little bit unfair, but that is the versatility that this camera has, and it's created a better image in this instance. The Canon 5D Mark IV produces beautiful images. You pay for what you get a lot of the time, and that's why this has won the image quality test. Okay, so I think if we count up, we can see that it is actually a tie. And to be fair, that is quite fitting because this is a better camera. There's absolutely no doubt about it in terms of quality, if you're a working professional, that type of thing. But is it the better camera for everybody? I would say probably not. This is going to be good for pretty much everybody. It is expensive at the moment, but the cost will come down over time and it's still going to be a good camera. Anyone can pick this up and use it and start creating images with it straight away. DSLRs do take a little bit more time to get used to. You're going to have to learn them a bit more. They will eventually start producing better images for you, but that isn't for everybody. Not everybody's interested in photography like we are. So, which is the better one? My test says it's a tie. Okay, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Hopefully that was just a little bit of fun, but I am making a slightly serious point about the future of photography moving forward and what devices we will be using to create our work in the future, because I don't think it's always going to be those expensive DSLRs. If you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe to the channel for videos every Wednesday and every Sunday, and I'll see you on another video very soon. I'm Adam, this is First Man Photography, out. Just look at that view at the top of Skiddaw Mountain in the Lake District. Those 360-degree views that have now formed pretty much the peak of all of my vlogs.